Yeah, they need to do something with him.
Hey, everybody. What's going
What's
on,
up?
everybody?
What's happening?
Yo,
we live. What's up, man? What's going on?
How's everybody?
All right, how you making out?
All
Welcome
right,
to
everybody.
Real Brothers.
Yeah, this is welcome to Real Brothers. Real Brothers for the real world. Welcome to our digital neighborhood. I'm TL, and that's Stacy, and that's our brother Guy. And we're Real Brothers, and we got a good show for y'all tonight.
Absolutely. Like Knight said, welcome to the Real Brothers of the real world, our weekly podcast. We hope you're enjoying us. We hope you've been enjoying it. We hope you will join us as we speak now. We're going to put the link into the comment section. So as we hit these topics, please feel free to hit the link and get on and join us. Or if you have something that you want to introduce into this to the conversation, feel free to do that.
What's up, Pat?
Yo, Pat, how you doing, man? Well, right now we're gonna introduce these topics, Nike, and then after that we're gonna get everybody a chance to discuss these randoms if anyone has anything. All right, the 4 topics that we have today: how does social media affect our young black men? What is still taboo?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know when a relationship is over? And does police brutality still exist in Philly? All right, now, Guy, I got a question.
Talk to me.
Did you really mean to word it that way? I know that was yours. Does police brutality still exist in Philly?
Did mean to word it that way, and the reason is because that's a rhetorical question, Stace. We all know the answer to that question. That question goes without even trying to answer it that way. I think what the reason for the wording is to get at, at what level police brutality still exists in Philadelphia, or has it increased, has it decreased? What's going on with police brutality in Philly? That's what that was about.
All right,
hey, yo, what's up,
what?
How you doing?
What we're gonna do, God, because you seem like you busting at the seams to do that one. So first, you're gonna double right back to that one.
He said he busting like
a mouthful. A mouthful. Answer one question.
Right.
Like before we address that one though, because we're gonna make that out first. So we're gonna go to Guy. Does anyone have any randoms that they want to throw out there? You got anything, Nike?
We did have a random, but I can't remember right now because it was that random. Wait a minute.
It was a show enough random.
Oh, I do have a random. I do. You know me. I do got a random. All right. Yeah, I just had to look at it real quick. Oh, so now am I crazy, or should this be a thing? Or am I just, because I got a certain affection for certain stuff? Every person that's currently in jail for marijuana possession should be freed immediately.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just saying,
why do you say that, Nike?
Because marijuana is just about legally in a lot of just about legal in a lot of states, for one. Then you got CBD that's legal in every state. Then
what's CBD? Is that the active ingredient in marijuana?
No, well, marijuana has THC and CBD.
Okay.
All right. So THC is the stuff that gets you,
Right. I got you. I understand now.
And CBD, THC is the psychoactive properties.
I got it.
Where THC is the,
I got it. I understand.
Medical properties of it.
So you think that anyone that was locked up for weed should just be set free? Period.
Right.
All right.
Well, I agree. I mean, it's just weed. It's just marijuana. You know what I mean? Why? I never understood why that's a big deal.
So let me ask you this then.
I don't consider marijuana a drug personally.
Well, but anything that alters your mental, isn't that what drugs
alcohol?
are? I mean,
what, like alcohol?
Absolutely, yes.
Like
alcohol
cigarettes?
Absolutely.
It's not illegal. It's not illegal.
It's not. But I'm addressing what you said though, as far as it not being a drug. I mean, it is a drug. It might not be a
sugar is a drug. You know what I meant? An illegal drug.
Okay, it shouldn't be an illegal
substance.
Drug.
Right.
Okay. Oh, Guy, you said you agree?
100%, 1,000%.
And they should just be set free. Period. Open the gates and let them out.
No questions asked.
Why lock them up if all they, for marijuana? I don't understand.
Well, listen, bro, there are people out here making profits hand over fist, hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in that industry.
Right.
But the people who are profiting from it are not the people who've been sacrificed for them to be put in a position where they can profit from the use and sale, manufacture of marijuana, THC, CBD. So, it's not much unlike any other thing that's been, culturally appropriated from Black folks, right? Black folks was leading the charge in marijuana and in activism to legalize marijuana. And now that it's legalized, white folks is making bread. Like they getting the hefty husky bag.
Right. And Stace, here's something.
You got young black dudes, older black dudes, period, rotting away in jail on a dumbass weed possession charge, or they violated their parole because they had fucking marijuana. Weed on them. They violated their probation because they had weed on them. Set them, listen, free all my niggas until all my niggas is free.
Yeah, that's right. Now, and here's something else to chew on, Stace. Soon as when something is popular and makes a lot of money, the 1% is going to make laws to make it illegal, so they can be the only ones to benefit from it.
Right.
So they can control it, and they're the only ones they can get taxes from it and all that, while the regular average person, they just smoking it, for whatever purpose, whatever they smoking it for. And those are the people that's getting locked up. They're not locking up the people, you know what I mean?
So is the way to do that then basically would be to retry them? Applying the laws that are on.
Retry them for what?
I say the way to do it, look on the books. If you sitting inside right now for a charge related to marijuana, possession, sale, use, paraphernalia, anything, let them
they got to go home. Yeah, like that's ridiculous. Right?
They should all get a pardon for that. They should all.
I got that. Now let me ask you this: are we talking about people with small amounts that were used for their personal use? Or you talking about people that had pounds?
Bro, a friend of mine got
what difference it make?
A friend of mine got pinched for 800 pounds of marijuana some years ago, and he got hit with some fed time. A good friend of mine got popped for 800 pounds. Right, free him too. He's free now, but if he wasn't, if he was incarcerated, I would say free him too.
So what difference does it make how much it weighs?
Well, because
you can go to the liquor store and buy as many cases of liquor as you want. So,
well, as long as you're not selling it. Listen, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You can do that as long as you're not selling it. It's illegal to sell cigarettes too, though. So, and that's my question. I mean, what if your man with the 800 pounds, his crime was a little different. That wasn't just a marijuana charge. That was a charge with the intent to sell.
So what? All of those people. Listen, if he's selling it? Listen, the thing that I'm saying is all these all right. So Pennsylvania, I believe it allocated like maybe 50 licenses in the state of Pennsylvania, right? And you had to be on. It was a list and all that kind of good stuff,
right?
And it would cost you like half a.
Who said that? Who said that? She's like, y'all don't curse. So y'all gonna leave me alone.
So no, you did it to yourself. You did it to yourself, Stace. You deserve it. But no, so I just think if it's folks out here that's selling it now. They distributing it left and right, hand over fist, right? They selling it, and out in the open everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's decriminalized, and because of that, no, you shouldn't hold my man in the box for 800
because
pounds.
What difference
let
do
him
it make?
Sell that. Let him come out. Let him get him a license. Get himself a license. They're like $500,000 for a license.
Wait a minute now. But think about what you just said, though, guy. You said let him get out. Let him get a license. So so in order to sell it, though, you do think that people should have a license.
I don't think so. That's what the law say.
Right. That's what the law
you have to have a license. It's regulated,
which is bullshit. That's bullshit too.
Well, I don't know about that.
You can grow it in
y'all
your,
think that? Well, what about alcohol? Should people be able to sell alcohol without a license?
What?
I mean, I gotta be honest with you. I mean, I'm just asking questions, but I'm
cool with regulations.
You think everything should be taxed and regulated?
Well, you know what? Actually, yeah, I do believe that though. For some things though,
especially something that's natural that grows in the ground.
No, but but you know what though? But let's
that's like taxing water.
No, that's not. No, it's not.
Why
that's completely different.
If
because now you're talking about.
Listen,
you ask me a question. This is my answer. The difference is you're selling mind-altering drugs that could harm. So you're right. So if anyone can sell liquor, what about the person that wants to open up and sell liquor to kids? Should they be able to do that? No. So I think that it should be regulated. So
how did we go? How did we go from
because it's a drug
from weed
because they're drugs
to giving kids liquor? Like you turning it regulated. But nobody said anything about giving kids anything, weed, liquor, or anything else. What I'm saying is people shouldn't be locked up for weed. I don't give a shit how much weight it is or what. You know what I'm saying? It's just
I agree with that. I agree with that. And there's now.
Let me just a quick. I just want to slide off a brief respite real quick. So everybody in our audience doesn't know the relationship between all of us, right? I just want everybody to understand. Okay, the relationship between Terry and Stacy, it goes back way back, like decades.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. We
like 3+.
We was in diapers together. Yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah. So I want everybody, all the listeners and viewers to understand that there's a dynamic in play that y'all may not be aware of, and because y'all not aware of it, y'all might see them going back and forth and see it as maybe something a little more controversial than it is. Right? And sometimes they might talk.
You ain't got the referee guy. We good. They know.
Yeah. You and I go back and forth too, though. So man. If somebody, this the way we talk. This way.
No, y'all passionate as hell. Y'all passionate as hell.
You know what I mean? That's how we get down.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Get to it.
All right. So I'm gonna just say this, and then I'm gonna listen after I say this, and then we're gonna move on to guys' topic. There you go. I knew he was only a matter of time, guy.
No.
Hey, guy. It's only a matter of time.
What view y'all like better? I see what view y'all like better. That's all.
Make us real teeny, and then put it. All right. All I'm saying is that, I'll just leave it with this. I don't think that people. I think it should be regulated. So I don't think that people should be able to sell weed, have large quantities of weed with the intent to sell, because I don't want them to be out there selling it to anyone. Weed, alcohol, anything like that. I think those items should be regulated. That's where
regulated.
Regulated. Yeah.
Wow.
You say why?
Yeah.
Because it can be a danger. Let me ask you this then. Do you think that somebody should be able to sell weed to a 10-year-old?
There you go back to the 10-year-olds. I'm talking about adult people. I'm talking about adults.
You didn't answer my question, Nike. Well, answer my question, then I'll tell you why I'm asking the question.
What's your question?
Should someone be able to sell weed to a 10-year-old?
You shouldn't be selling drugs to. You shouldn't be selling drugs to kids. Period. I don't need a law for that, though. I don't need a law to tell me that.
You do. Some people do. Some people do, Nike. Guy, you understand what I'm saying?
If somebody is, listen to this. If somebody is going to sell drugs to a kid, they don't care if it's a law for it or not.
Yes, they do, Nike. Yes, they do. No, they don't. Sometimes,
so you think the only thing that's stopping people from selling to a kid
of losing their license?
Nah.
I mean, yes. Guy, what do you think, man?
I think it should be regulated, but I think the regulation should apply equitably across all races, ages, sexes, and everything across the boards. If you could regulate something that way, and it not be like some other regulations that disproportionately leave Black people out of certain industries, then no.
So you talking about putting a Surgeon General's message on a pack on weed.
No, actually, not even that.
Yeah, I
think
mean,
on that note,
like the
no.
cigarettes.
No. Well, because they found that it cigarettes can cause cancer, and they were getting sued, so that's why they put that little message up there, that little disclaimer.
But that's part of
I
cigarettes being regulated, though.
Right. Well, actually, though, that a big part of that came from the private sector, because that's their way of saying, listen, if you get cancer from smoking, don't come to us because we warned you. So that was them basically saying, all right, we need to protect ourselves because they got
against them. There was a Husky lawsuit a couple decades
absolutely
ago against the
all
manufacturers, several of the manufacturers of nicotine products, and as a part of that settlement, they agreed to put those Surgeon General warnings on nicotine and tobacco products.
Right. So that was primarily for them to protect themselves. You know, they didn't really care about who was buying it. They just didn't want to be sued.
My point is still that that's part of the regulations. So in order, you're talking about putting regulations on marijuana so nobody won't sell it to kids. But I just think you don't need that, because if a person is going to do that, they're going to do that anyway.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. So we're going to double back now to that the question that we started on.
Right.
Does police brutality still exist in Philly?
Right. So what I say, and yeah, all right, it's cool. It's my topic. And yeah, you know what? Police brutality does still exist in America, in Philadelphia. And I was saying it, like it was a rhetorical question, because we all know the answer to it. It does still exist. And police brutality in Philadelphia has a long history. It goes way back. So it's not something
all the way back since Frank Rizzo, I can remember. Yeah,
I'm going way back even before Frank Rizzo. I'm talking about in the late 1800s when W.E.B. Du Bois wrote that book, the Philly Negro, right? And back then, the population of Philadelphia was 5% black, but 30% of the jail population in Philadelphia was black. But only 5% of the actual population in Philadelphia was black. But we represented 30% of the prison population coming out of Philadelphia. So, and then, so you go back to the 1800s, back then when there was disproportionate.
Statistics sound familiar, don't they?
Very familiar. And this is back over, 100 plus years ago, 150 years ago. It was the late 1800s when W.E.B. Du Bois wrote that piece called The Philadelphia Negro. Check that out when you get a chance. And the listeners too, if you get a chance, check that book out. Check that piece out by W.E.B. Du Bois, The Philadelphia Negro. And then you fast forward to the years with Rizzo, right? So when you have Rizzo in office, matter of fact, go even before Rizzo, just before Rizzo took office back in 1958, the black people in Philadelphia actually testified in front of city council about disparities in policing in the black communities in Philadelphia. This is 1958. So then you fast forward to the 70s up to 79 when Rizzo was in office, right? And there was a federal study that found that police brutality in the city of Philadelphia was rampant. You got in 2015, there was a study done that indicated that in Philadelphia, the disparity in race and prison population was still the same as it was back in the late 1800s, and that police brutality still exists here in Philadelphia. And the main point of that study was to show, and what it showed was murders by police officers in the city of Philadelphia. This is 2015, up through 2015. I think it covered a 3-year period. There were 80% of the murders by police officers in the city of Philadelphia were black men that were murdered. So,
80%.
And this was 2015. Wow. This is 2015. So I'm just saying, the city of Philadelphia has a very storied
long
past,
history,
and it has a long history with police brutality when it comes to black people. And I'm trying to gauge the level of police brutality.
I know I was young when Rizzo was out, but I remember the red police cars. I remember those red cars, and they would come up and they be knocking heads. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? I remember that. And I've, Stace, I've been personally harassed and brutalized by a cop while we was outside. Remember down on 25th Street?
Jefferson. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now, I'm sure that most of us that were out and about, had probably some stories of our run-ins with police. But guy, I want to ask you this. So when we introduced the topic, you said that you wanted to talk about like is it getting worse? Is it getting better? Is it at the same level? I mean, so what are your thoughts on that though? I mean, now and especially after the summer of us kind of
protests, George Floyd, everything.
Yeah,
right.
I think,
and it's not a
so.
Philadelphia problem. This is a national problem.
I think it's actually gotten worse. I think it's gotten worse, or if not, it's the same. And the reason, listen, just a few months ago, you had Walter Wallace Jr. murdered in front of his mother by the Philadelphia Police Department. This man suffered, and we talked about this before, mental health issues, and that's, the main call that folks at 911 receive from our communities. Walter Wallace was suffering, a mental break, and they murdered that man in front of his mom. I heard a blood-curdling scream that I never want to ever hear again in my life. Something inside me felt like it broke when they did that. So yeah, and just not to say them killing that man, Walter Wallace Jr. I need to say his name. Them killing that man in front of his mother was not just police brutality against him. That was systematic. That was a show to let the rest of us know, stay your black ass in line. Right. Yep. Know your fucking role. Know your place.
Because the first thing they do when they come up to a situation and there's black people involved, the first thing that's done is they go for the gun.
Their weapons.
They draw the weapon is drawn, and there's not every situation that causes that is where drawing a gun is necessary.
I don't think it's hardly ever necessary for a police officer to draw some gun on a civilian, on a person that they pay to serve.
Right.
You're not serving me by pointing your weapon at me.
And they want to use fear as an excuse.
Right.
But and that's all it is. Like, so you can say, "Oh, well, I was scared." If you're scared to come in my neighborhood,
don't come in my neighborhood.
Then don't come in my neighborhood.
Get the fuck out.
Right.
Well, really, I'll go one step further. If you're afraid to go into different neighborhoods and that's your job, you shouldn't be in that line of business. Right. Because your job is to go. And don't get me wrong, I know human nature is that, especially if you're going into a weird situation and it's volatile and everything else. I mean, the situation is gonna, you're gonna have a heightened sense of adrenaline and everything else, but there shouldn't be that kind of fear where you don't want to go there, or the first thing you need to do is feel like you need to pull your gun. I mean, I think, now I'll say that I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that those people aren't used to conflict, because a lot of times, I'm sure all of us, we know when somebody's just running off at the mouth versus somebody that is about to attack. But if you've never experienced that, as soon as someone raises their voice, you nervous and you think that it's on. Whereas the three of us know somebody raise their voice, you're going to kind of stand there and look at him like, okay, he just running his mouth. So,
right. Because the thing about it, the person that's the loudest, he ain't going to do shit. You know what I'm saying?
Normally, right.
The one that's running their mouth is the one that ain't going to do shit. But that's besides the point. The thing is, like, if you were supposed to be law enforcement or whatever,
right,
and you're supposed to be in a certain area, you should try to get to know the people in your area. Not be an asshole, not be an asshole to everybody you see. You know what I mean? You should try to so that would ease the tension when there's an issue in that neighborhood. No, and another thing, we should have more black cops in the black community.
Well, it's a lot of black cops tonight. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is. And I'm not saying that they're any better than the white ones, but what I'm saying is, like, I can't see a black cop being scared of a black man, like on a traffic
stop like
or
that.
something like
that.
Right.
You know I would have to agree with that. I mean, but at one time though, weren't they making a big push? Was it Rendell that came out with the bike patrol and really pushed community policing? Wasn't that Rendell that did that? I mean, did they roll back that program? Because that was big. Because actually, each district has a community liaison that's supposed to walk around and get to know the people in the community. Do they still do that?
I think they abandoned a bunch of that shit. And then, you know what? I wanted to say this too. in Philadelphia, we do have this problem. What's that say? We have to address the system foundation lack space for individual harmful and violent behaviors. I'm not a fan of law enforcement in our communities. Period. So my opinion is automatically going to be skewed. I've had one interaction with law enforcement over the past lifetime of mine that was actually not negative. I don't want to say it was positive, but it wasn't negative.
Right.
And it's I don't see them working to do anything to make some, meaningful changes to the way they police Black people in our communities. They haven't. They haven't. And not only that, right? So in 2015, the crime rate actually decreased, but the rate of murders of Black people by police increased. So even if they do claim that, we're going to, run a bike patrol, we're going to do some community shit and all that. That's like, I believe one of our viewers said that's not a structural change in the system. That's optics, or if anything else, and I agree. I believe that's what it is.
Can help though.
I just don't.
It can still help.
I think it's all that's the smoke and mirrors so that they can continue on.
Right.
That's the changes in the police force are going to be changes that are going to impact Black folks positively at all. No way, no shape, no how, because of the nature of policing in America. So I think the only policing in Philadelphia needs to be dismantled the same way it does need to be across the country. Maybe it doesn't need to look anything similar to what it looks like today.
Right.
Or as you said last week, more about reallocating. More like reallocating.
Right.
And self-policing.
Right.
Community self-policing. Yeah.
Town watch. Here go night.
That's right. Yeah.
Here go Taylor with the town watch.
Why not? We can police we can police ourselves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
All right.
It's our streets.
So here we go.
It's our streets.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with that. I fell more in line with what Guy said. I definitely believe. No. I mean, no, not on that way. I definitely believe that I don't believe in totally defunding or dismantling the force totally, because I think there is a need for them. But I do believe that in a reallocation, and I
think that's a bad term that they chose for that. I think,
reallocation?
No, defunding the police. They could have chose. They could have.
I think that's why Stacey is saying reallocating. It's not necessarily defunding what we're talking about, but it's definitely, in my mind, it's definitely dismantling that entire system and maybe working it a different way. Reallocating those resources and those funds
to mental health and domestic violence.
Especially
you know what I'm saying? You have to have professionals that are trained in certain situations where people ain't getting killed, or you don't have people, riding up with their guns drawn, and not assess the situation first. You know what I'm saying?
Especially with the stat that guy just put out there. If that was a stat, or when he said, I'll just say he said the bulk of the police interactions in Philly were
last comment?
Nah, I didn't see it. All right, we're gonna roll on. All right, we got, how does social media affect our young Black men? What is still taboo?
Wow.
And how do you know when the relationship is over? What y'all got? Terry, you want to tackle one of those, man?
Wait, I'm blocking this user because he's being an idiot. Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
All right. So
so where you want to go, Nike?
We
got how does social media affect our young Black men?
Mm-hmm.
What is still taboo? And how do you know when the relationship is over? Let me do it. You want me to do the taboo, John?
Yeah, let's go to taboo. Let's go to taboo.
What
is still taboo?
And actually, this is the direction that I want to go with it. And I definitely want feedback from other people, because it seems like Night and Guy, it seems like to me, nothing is taboo anymore. I don't anything goes. I think anything now with social media, the internet, if you want to find anything, you can find it. And not only that, at some point, once it gets out there, then it's readily accepted. So again, right. I don't think there's anything that's taboo. I mean, what do you think? Like, what's taboo then? What's something that?
Well, a lot of things. It depends on what you call like taboo can mean a lot of things, man. Like True. R. Kelly did a lot of taboo shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he did a lot of illegal stuff. I mean, so
still
is that
taboo.
What you mean?
Still taboo.
Well, okay, I don't mean illegal though.
Sex with little young girls.
That's not what I'm talking about. No, I don't mean that.
Well, what I'm talking about? What is taboo?
I'm not talking about anything illegal. I'm just talking about things that before we looked at them and said that's not something that's mainstream.
Well, like licking booty.
Right.
I know what you want to go. I got you. Damn, I got you. I know what you want to go. I know where you want to go.
The second thing out of his mouth.
He dragged it out of me, guy. He dragged it out of me. I knew what he was fishing for. Okay, all right, I got you.
I mean, but all right, since you brought it up.
I know back in the day, I don't think niggas used to eat. I mean, kings and queens used to eat booty back in the day. But you know what I'm saying? Like now, I think
is there anything that's so again, like with that being said, then is there anything that's still taboo? What's taboo now? What's something that
what's taboo now? What's taboo now?
What's that?
Sneezing in public, shaking hands is public. Whoa. Coughing is taboo. Sneezing, that shit is taboo now, bro. That's taboo. What used to be taboo that's not taboo no more, though? What used to be taboo was discussing mental and behavioral health among Black people. That's no longer taboo.
Nice.
What used to be taboo was sharing information about wealth building in our communities. That's no longer taboo. So when we talk about taboo, I mean, we can go a lot of different ways, but I think some things that are now taboo that never were, shaking hands, bro. If somebody reached out to shake my hand, I'm questioning that.
Now you looking at him like,
What's up with you?
You just stick your elbow out now.
Right. I might give you an elbow, the fist,
right, yeah,
the nod, whatever, But that's taboo now.
I always wanted to know, like, all right. So I'm married.
Coughing in public is taboo. If you cough in public, everybody gonna look at you like, yo, what's up with you?
True.
Like you got germ?
He got that thing.
With me being married, right? How do single people now with the whole COVID thing and trying to be safe and all that? How do you approach it the same way? Like, is it like, what I mean?
When it comes to the hunt, that goes out the window.
It ain't no after the date. After the date, you go home, you walk home and get a kiss or something. No, she like this with a mask. Like, all right, that's enough. Paid for my meal. You got to go.
When it comes to that, you like this. When it comes to the hunt, man, all that goes out the window. Yo,
listen,
man,
what I heard? I'm gonna tell you something. Listen. When it comes to dating, right, being single, right, so I'm single. So dating, and all the listeners and viewers, y'all probably know that by now. As far as
for 20 years.
All right, so a dub, right, I'm a dub in there. So yeah, it's different. Like you almost now have two separate groups of people dating. You got vaxxers and non-vaxxers. And it don't seem like vaxxers will date non-vaxxers and non-vaxxers won't date vaxxers. Crazy.
Wow.
Like it's
so
a
they
thing.
ask
It's really
the question.
Oh, so that's a category now?
Vaxxers and non-vaxxers when it comes down to dating?
Damn, I'm out the loop like
wow.
a motherfucker.
Well, you ain't dating, so we don't expect that from you.
I don't want to. I'm glad I'm not. You know what? To be honest with you, I'm glad I'm not. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm glad you're not.
Less
competition.
A little safer. Right.
Less competition, bro. I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good.
All y'all.
I mean, so to bring it back then, and I guess
he won't go back to the eating booty. He's like, now going back to the booty eating,
back to tossing that salad, huh?
Yeah.
I forgot that term, man. I forgot about that term. So look, he got his Tahitian fruit on deck. Listen, so I guess with that being said,
No,
then
today I got orange drink, bro. I got orange drink today.
yeah, there you
He
go.
switched it
All
up.
right,
He switched it up.
nice.
Not orange
So,
juice or nothing like
so
that. It's orange drink.
I said, no, I got orange juice, but it's just not. It's adult orange juice. So with that being said, then I guess in a way it's good then that things are that whole veil is being lifted because it brings more into the fold, but with everything being open, like you said, guy, you went.
That veil got lifted a little too high though.
No, see, but where I was going with it is that I think that of course you get the good, you get the bad with the good, but a lot of good came from it because a lot of the things that got rattled off, I look at as positives though. Talking about mental health, talking about coming together as a community, men talking about what they're going through. That was taboo.
Right.
Men didn't talk about their issues. You know what I mean? So yeah. So in other words,
I appreciate that. I appreciate the pandemic for that.
Right.
Simone Biles made it okay to bow out gracefully or something if you're suffering from, if you're suffering mentally or emotionally from something. Serena Williams made it cool to do that. It's okay to, embrace your mental health and take care of your mental health and take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? And, just a number of folks that discuss mental and behavioral health. And, the behavioral health piece came because so many white folks were starting to find themselves and their children and their friends and such addicted to these opioids.
Absolutely.
Kensington and shit. And now, behavioral health has been a thing where we can talk about it now instead of criminalizing it. So that's taboo. So those were taboo items that are no longer taboo items. And now I think we are moving,
that's a positive.
Taking hand. Oh, that was never a taboo, and it is.
Here you go. I don't think being pro-black is as taboo as it was years ago, like with the Black Panthers and all that. I think people understand the plight of the black person now a little better because all of the video and all of the things that we have that maybe they did, and all of the communication that we have that maybe some people didn't understand what we were always talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now they get a chance to actually see that live, happen live. I think it started to actually change since Rodney King. That was the first really televised like ass whooping by the police.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like on, like really publicized and everything.
Yeah.
So since then, the video camera's been catching a lot of dumb shit. And,
that's right.
And
which is good.
Even people that ain't black is like, dang, goddamn, they got it.
Yeah.
They got it a little rough. You know what I'm saying?
But actually, it's funny. That's what King said. He said that, you need the cameras. That was the whole point of he knew that unfortunately there are gonna have to be some people to get beat, but he knew that once the rest of the United States saw those innocent people getting sprayed and chased by dogs and bitten and all that other kind of stuff, that it'll show how brutal and, like you said, Nike, and the things that folk were going through.
Somebody just asked, you believe that made them folks understand us? No, that's not what I said. What I said
go ahead.
What I said was they can get a visual of what's going on and realize what we're talking about when we say we need this or we need that.
Right.
So just to clarify, I don't think that makes folks understand us any better. Well, yes, I do. I kind of do. Yeah, I think it does because they get a chance to actually
a little more empathetic.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Make them a little bit more empathetic, but I think it does. I mean, if you think about it, to be honest with you, I don't think if it weren't for that, we wouldn't be where we are now.
Exactly.
Because
I don't know if I agree with that either, Stace. You know what I mean? Because
I think this whole thing with Floyd, though, man, that was worldwide. That wasn't just in our community. And not only, and as you said, what you would say before, Nike, you always talk about how, we march for a little while and then everything changed and then everything goes back to normal. That protest was sustained. Let me rephrase that. that protest is sustained, and it's not just black folk. So the same thing that happened in the 60s happened now. It wasn't just our community out there protesting.
I mean, I get that, but what I'm saying is, like, I just think that I'm gonna just say it right now. I'm not all for the marching and protesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with that. Like,
right.
I mean, because people who have the power to make changes, they don't give a shit about nobody protesting and marching. You know what I mean? They don't care about none of that. They don't care about none of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The only way that we are going to actually be able to make change is if we are united.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? If we don't come together as one people and stop, and we have to unite, and that once we're united, that gives us leverage. It gives us power to make the changes we need, and then we don't have to depend on politicians. We don't have to depend on none of that. If we want somebody elected, we can put in office who we want to put in office.
Right.
To make the changes that we need.
Mm-hmm. No,
you get what I'm
saying? I agree with that, but I just think that it as we talked about before, it's a whole approach. I think that it definitely helped the fact that it was a bigger movement than just the black community out there protesting. Like I said, this was a sustained worldwide protest, and I believe that played a lot into making the change happen, the way that it did. I believe that. I believe that. What do you think, Guy?
I think, just to get back on topic, that it was something that was taboo prior to a lot of the more recent protests. And I think now it's not as taboo as it was. I think discussing race relations in America is a lot less taboo. I don't want to say that we made any progress or anything like that, because I think y'all all know I don't prescribe to the notion of progress when it comes to systemic racism.
Right.
Or
either it is or it ain't.
Right. Either I'm getting mine or I'm not, or I'm on my way to getting mine, or you know what I mean.
Get ready to on my way to get
the bag off. Right.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I think it's less of a taboo topic now than it was prior to the summer of 2020.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. How does social media affect our young black men, and how do you know when a relationship is over? All right, Guy, we coming to you, man.
No,
Terry. No, we going to Terry. We going to Terry. My fault.
All right.
All right, Terry. Which one, man? How does social media...
Let's go to the relationship joint. I know people been waiting for that one.
You think so?
Yeah, I think people were waiting for that. All right, let's go to the relationship joint.
All right.
So how do you know when a relationship is over?
Yeah, how do you know, man?
Well, look, I was in 2 relationships. No, go ahead, Terry.
Go ahead.
I was engaged twice. Believe that shit or not.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I was engaged.
Oh, you breaking some news?
You got cold feet.
Yeah, I was.
You got cold feet.
But one of the times was 25 years ago.
Damn.
So it was. Okay, Kevin Hart. Okay, bro. Yeah, 25. It was 25 years ago, and the other one was more recently. It was like 6 years ago or some shit like that.
Oh.
And both of them ended. I knew they were over because the person I was engaged with told me the shit was over. So listen, bro, I'm gonna go ahead and move on. I gotta get my life.
Well, wait, I thought you said you hadn't been in a relationship in 25 years, but you was not in a relationship with somebody you was engaged to.
He skipped the relationship and just got engaged.
I did. No, I really did, bro. I was not in a relationship. When I got engaged, that engagement lasted like 5 months, right? We were not in a relationship prior to that engagement.
Wait, so were you trying to get papers to get into the States?
She was overseas trying to get into the country. She's trying to get into the country. She's trying to get her green card out this joint.
She's trying to get into the country.
No, if that was the case, we would have went through it. I would have got my check. But no, that ain't That's not how it was going down. No.
So you didn't know. You found out that it was over
through a text. She shot me a text. That joint. She shot me a text.
So
yeah, that was wild.
So now, all right, guy. All right, okay. So, all right, guy. You my man. Yeah, you my man. You a smart dude. Yeah. Did you look at that text? You wait a minute. So you didn't look at that text and say, what do you mean? I mean,
no.
He had to take his tux back.
No, I ain't think no. When I got the text message, I was like, no, bro. I dodged that bullet. Shit. I dodged that bullet, bro. That's how I looked at the text.
Yo,
no,
that's crazy.
But I guess the question is, I mean, did you see it coming?
Nah. I thought she was really going to take me to the altar. I thought we was really going to walk down the John. I did.
But you wasn't in a relationship with her?
No, not at all. We used to go to the park and sit on the bench and swing our legs and talk shit and all that. Hold hands and shit, man. We used to do that shit, bro.
And swing your legs.
Yo, one day we were sitting at the park and a little deer walked up to us and everything. It was the flyest shit ever. I ain't even going front, bro. It
was
cool.
You sure you wasn't high, man? You sure you wasn't high?
I probably was, but what that got to do with it?
Hey, God. So you sit in the park. Bambi walks up. You pet Bambi, feed Bambi.
No, we ain't let it get that close.
Then he get on one knee.
I'm in Philly.
Get on one knee.
Bambi's in Philly ain't like the Bambis in the book. Bambi's in Philly is a little different. So no, I didn't walk up all close and all that. It was over to the side, and we was like all cute and all that with the warm and fuzzy and all that shit. And then we kept it moving.
Nice. All right. So to your point, you know that it's over when you're told that it's over.
Or when 2 weeks is up, whichever comes first.
With 2 weeks. Says our single friend.
Right.
I better slow down. Slow down.
No, that's just jokes. Hey, listen, I don't want the audience to know. I don't have no fucking 2 week limit or none of that good shit. I haven't reached 2 weeks in a long time. So
yeah.
All right. So go ahead, Nike.
So, how I know a relationship is over is like when it feel like y'all sick of each other, or like, you know what I mean, it's like y'all arguing about little petty shit all the time, or just, you know what I'm saying, or not spending time together like usual. You know what I mean? Not
now, but let me ask you though, is that part of a natural flow of a relationship though? I mean, does that stuff just happen, or is it something deeper saying, oh, this joint is over, versus those things you just mentioned, Nike?
Well, it depends on the situation, I think. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it depends on the people too. So, you know, you might have, you know, relationships, they go through cold spells, you know what I mean? Right. Or they go through rough patches, you know, and then a lot of times if you still, you know, love that person or feel a certain type of way about that person, then, you know, y'all will figure a way to work it out. You know what I mean?
Actually, you know what?
It's about communication.
I think, Nike, I'll go on with what you just said, though. I think that when you give up, you know, when you stop caring, you know what I mean? When you stop.
Basically, when you stop doing the things that y'all used to do when y'all was, you know what I mean, when y'all was first together. You know what I'm saying?
But Nike, I think that, like you said, though, even if you're on a downside, you know, like you said, it has ebbs and flows. If you're ebbing, and you hit that little patch where you don't feel like hanging out with that person, I don't think that you still get that feeling in your gut that it's over, though. I think that feeling in the gut is different when you're just like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
You know,
it's a difference between needing some space sometimes,
correct,
and knowing shit is over. You know what I'm saying? So you know, we only human beings. Sometimes you need your private space just to be you. You know what I mean? You need to do you for a minute.
And that's different. But
you know
when I say give up, I think when you stop trying to make each other smile, And that might
that's what I'm
sound
saying. When I say do the shit that you used to do when y'all was first getting together, you know what I mean?
right,
You would
right,
do little cute shit or
right,
like, you know what I
right,
mean? Like,
right. When you
you
get to the
know.
point where you don't care if they smile or not,
When
you got a
you get to the
problem.
point where you walking past and she like, look at this motherfucker. You
Yeah,
know what I
you got a problem. Yeah,
or you looking
yeah,
at her like, man,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? And you
And then I could even say, like, because I think sometimes you argue because you do care, but sometimes I think when you get to the point where you don't even argue anymore,
that's when you know it's over.
yeah, because it's like, what else can you
Yeah,
do? So
because
it's no need to
when
argue.
neither one of y'all don't give a fuck no more,
Right,
it's
right,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
ain't gonna argue because you like, all right, well,
I
fuck
don't
it.
care.
She ain't
It's
gonna argue
whatever.
because
Right,
she like fuck it. You know what I mean?
right,
So that's
right.
when y'all know it's like, man, it's over. Do we
Right,
got any
right.
ladies on the line that want to chime in on that? Because
Yeah,
we
this is a
just like
male's
Lynette
perspective.
said, we we only giving you our male perspective.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Which is
Yeah,
probably right, but y'all might want to
I'm sure it's right,
come
but
in
if
and
she wanted to
challenge
throw
that.
something in,
Well, I
we'll
know it's right
listen.
when a woman send you a text and tell you the shit over, or when they call you and be like, "Listen, I'm ready to move on." That shit is over.
Yeah, that's different, guy. I mean, yeah,
Because she's not leaving no room for doubt.
right,
You know what
right,
I'm
right, right,
saying?
right, 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 right,
Right,
right,
right.
right, right.
Or you know
I mean,
what? She being an adult because in a lot of these relationships
true,
that I see,
true.
a lot of folks are drag shit on knowing they should have had that conversation
Right.
4 years
A
ago. You
while
know what I'm
ago.
saying?
Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
but
Yeah.
When the
but God,
second
but
kid was born, and now you up to 5 kids and shit.
dang, but the question is though, God, but when do you continue to fight though? I mean, when if it's somebody that you was digging. I mean, well, maybe is that the case though that you weren't digging it, so you were just like you got the text message, you were like, I didn't continue to drink your beer.
Well, listen. Let me. All right, let's give it a little more context. Right, that was just an example of 2 times that I was in a relationship and the ship ended, and I knew that it ended. Right, I've had like little, you know what I mean, entanglements or whatever the fuck you want to call them here and there and all that kind of good stuff. Right. So,
Right.
but I guess so I can add a little more input to it than when you get the text message. So, I think it's me personally. I don't really do a whole lot of going through all those motions and going up and down and having the spell where you got to go through the arguments and all that. Like today is Sunday, bro. I don't argue on Sundays. I don't argue on Mondays, and I stay away from that shit on Tuesdays. And Wednesdays is definitely not the day for argument. And Thursdays I can't make time for the shit. And Friday, I don't know. It's Friday. Who's arguing on a Friday? And Saturday, I probably made plans, so I can't argue on Saturdays.
Can't argue on
So the
Saturday.
argument and all that shit, it ain't even in my schedule nowhere. So I
See,
can't
but
even
God,
sit like,
So I ain't arguing about shit.
no,
right.
but so
And it
this is
ain't
my
because I don't
question though.
care, but
I was gonna ask you that. Does that mean though? Is that as a result of just not caring though? You know what I mean? Because you argue with your kids, I'm sure. Do you argue with your kids?
hell no.
Wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. Do you have to? Because I don't expect your kids to argue back. But do you have to sometimes get on your kids?
Nope.
Well, they're adults now. See,
Right.
you throw me
Lynette
off.
said it's
I
not
never
about
got on them when they
arguing,
was
it's
younger
about
though.
communication.
Listen,
She
I
said
never got
what?
on them when they was younger.
She said it's
My
not about
expectations
arguing,
was
it's
real.
about communication.
What does that mean? What does she mean, Nike?
She said it's not about I got the shit up on the screen.
Actually, my jaw been frozen for the longest. I don't know what's going on. I'm surprised y'all still see me.
No, every now and then it's just a frozen
she
picture
said
of you
not
with your
about
mouth hanging
arguing,
open
it's
and shit
about
like that.
communication.
Yo,
Huh?
my jaw been frozen for like the last 20 minutes. I'm just talking and hoping things are rolling.
Yeah, no, we
Oh,
see you every now and then.
You said
You come through
I'm the
every few minutes you come through.
Yeah. But we hear you though. We hear you fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's all good.
So what does she mean? Like, it's about communication. I mean, what does that mean?
Tell her to pop on and ask. I can't speak for
I
Lynette.
think maybe what she mean is maybe we've been talking about that, and I went on a little rant about arguing, and I don't do it on certain
Maybe
days.
she
and
mean
all
not
that shit.
arguing, but
Right.
actually communicating
Listen,
your
I
feelings
communicate
about
with
stuff
anybody
and all that. Yeah.
And the thing is, I communicate with anybody that wants to communicate back, and or that wants to be effective at communicating with me. So I don't think maybe I lost it in the translation where I was saying, the argument. But I hear so much about the ups and downs of relationships and how, and not only that, right? Sometimes some of us are meant to be single. We aren't meant to be in a relationship. And that's,
bro, if you ain't
cool
cut out
too.
for it, because look, relationships is hard. It's hard work.
It's work.
Or
Matter of fact, a
say
relationship is probably the hardest work you ever going to do.
You know what? I gotta say this though. You know what? Because whenever anybody talks to me about a relationship, I gotta flip it and I gotta be able to look internally at myself because I have a relationship with myself. So whether you have a relationship with a person or you have a relationship with yourself or both, right? Because you should have both. If you're in a relationship with somebody, you should still have a relationship with yourself and knowledge of yourself and understand who you are and be able to look, at yourself. So I think that it's the same as having an internal conflict when you're talking about the arguing or communication. If you can be introspective, if you can look at what's going on with you and not be in a place where you're denying yourself constantly,
Right.
where you don't want to give in to what the right thing is to do, you having an internal conflict. You're having an argument with yourself, or you're not communicating effectively with yourself, or you are, but you're not connecting where you think you should. The same way if it was another person involved. Y'all don't agree on a thing, and that person may not want to do it the way you want to do it, et cetera, et cetera. My thing is, and the reason why I say, you can tell when a relationship is over is when you reach that point where you're no longer working to get to a common goal, but you really more so arguing at each other that's your form of communication now.
Right.
So what people don't realize too is that relationships are a 50-50 deal, right?
Right.
So you have to first, you have that 150, that 50% is you. So that you can't make that other 50% happy if your 50% ain't happy.
Right.
Yeah.
No, agreed.
And the
also,
same with her. She can't make you happy if she ain't happy.
And I think to something that you said in passing a minute ago, I think that's what makes it so tough, because you have to be willing to concede and give up part of yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
You it's required.
Negotiate.
You have to negotiate, right? Because it can't be 100. As you said, it can't even be 80-20. Because after a while, if it's unbalanced like that, the person that's getting the 20 is going to feel slighted.
Sick of it. Yeah, they're gonna get sick of
it. And like everything else, there's ebbs and flows. So some weeks or sometimes you might be up and getting more of what you want, but that's because the other person is willing to take that 20 for a little while, but then it swings back. So on average, it has to be even, and that's what makes it tough.
Right.
That's
and when I say 50-50 and somebody said 100, it's kind of we talking about.
I guess what they might be saying is, well, who said that? They need to come on.
I'm talking about
think
in a
they mean by that though is give me 100%.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I was talking about the relationship.
The balance.
So the relationship is 50% the male and 50% the female, right? That's what I was talking about. So 100 and 100, but the relationship is 50-50. Right. That's what I was saying.
But you have to give it 100%. You have to give it 100%.
Right.
And actually, what's funny, and just to kind of, speak to what that person said, that happens though, and you hear about it happen a lot. Some people they call it lazy love. Somebody back off and kind of just along for the ride, and the other person is doing all the pushing.
Right.
That's not gonna last either. That's not gonna last.
That's why I said 50-50. You know what I mean? 50-50. Like it has to.
That's nice. What did Shai say? Shai made that 100% joint.
Shai's like, we got a math teacher.
Who, Miss Stevens?
All right, big bro, I hear you.
But I agree, Nike. And I'll say this. I think what makes it so tough is because you give somebody the ability to cause you pain. You know what I mean? Right. You have to open yourself up to that person, because from a man's point of view, and it's one of the things that women I don't think totally understand, that if you don't have that man's vulnerabilities, you don't have them. You know what I mean? If a man doesn't make himself vulnerable to you, he can look at that text message that you sent and say, "All right, good riddance."
Yeah, all right, later.
I'll get on you later, right? Because really, you don't have the whole man. You don't have the whole man. You see what I'm saying?
That should be a topic one week. You know what I'm saying?
What's that?
How do you get the whole man?
You know what? I'm down with that because I think
we got Shice on the line too.
Nah, that's Shice on. He must be drinking, man. You gonna bring him on?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, he wants to get on the relationship joint. Well, all right, he's an expert.
Big bro, where you at?
You gonna bring him on? Yeah.
What's up, big bro? Where you at?
Can you hear him?
Big bro, where you at?
What's up, Shice? How you doing, brother?
Turn your volume.
He probably got his jaw muted. He probably got his jaw muted.
What's up, man?
You can't hear him.
Turn your volume.
Somebody help him with his phone, please. Shice, get the phone. You can't get him.
What's up, man?
What's up, Shice?
I can hear it's like a delay.
Wow. Tell him to sign that joint. He got to use sign language. As he works on that.
You know, you can't see that shit.
I know, yeah. But what I was saying is that, I think that's what makes it tough, Nike, because as you get comfortable with a person, you, especially for a dude, because that's the last thing that you get from a man. What do you think, Guy? Would you agree with that? Is that the last thing that you get from a dude, where a man gives you the ability to hurt him? He gives you his vulnerability. Is that the last thing that you get? Is that the last thing that we give? Put it that way.
I think
is that the last thing that you give?
Is that from a man? Is that the last thing that we give?
Some men never give vulnerability.
It depends on the man. I think. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever gotten to a point in a relationship where I became vulnerable.
Wow. So what is that saying though? I mean, so did anyone truly have the whole guy lane? I say no.
I would say yeah, but I think only to the degree like where a lot of men in our generation have experienced like emotional detachment or an inability to attach to people with that strong emotional bond, right? And I think that's not just me. I think that affects a lot of black men, a lot of men in our communities. You understand? So it's not. And I don't think that's something that just women haven't gotten the whole me. I think women haven't gotten the whole a lot of men because for a lot of years, people looked at us as if we were weird if we had any type of, an emotional attachment to another person, if we couldn't be 100% self-sufficient in every area and aspect of our lives. But I can't speak to when it comes to being married or in those, supreme long-term relationships because I've never been in them.
Big bro Shice.
What's up, Shice? How you doing, nigga, brother?
What's up, man?
Family? How everybody doing? No,
good.
He's 100%. Because it's the narrative that you hear from women all the time. Well, I'm gonna say black women because that's all my experience has been, that we're not vulnerable or communicators. But myself, that's never been my story. I could be very, with y'all, we laugh and we joke. But most people won't get the parts that my woman would. I never had a issue like nobody I was with long term ever said.
I don't think we want the parts that your woman.
I don't want that either.
I don't think we want the parts that your woman get.
No, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been listening and I heard y'all saying men weren't able to even to have real conversations. So I'm touching on that too. It's degrees, Terry, you know what I'm saying. You're not going to get what I gave my mother's children.
Right, you're not going to see that vulnerable side. Right, yeah.
We don't have real conversations.
Yeah.
But the women that I've been with long term have been able to see almost all of me. I know they said I never seen you really show joy because like I'm not a jump up and down dude. So I'll be like at the wedding, like, yeah, I do. You ain't gonna see me choked up. Right. I think the only time I got choked up is when my children came in the world.
Right,
yeah.
Right. I mean, but let me ask you this, Shice, why you on?
Choked up.
So, Shice, I made a stop. What do you think about what I just said, though? If the woman doesn't get the vulnerable, I said she doesn't have the whole man. Because that's the last.
Yourself. You're
say
right.
It again?
And you're cheating yourself because the intimacy I had with those women can't compare to the nowhere else to with other women I've been with because they didn't have that part of me.
And the thing is, it depends on the woman. It depends on the woman that you want to give it to, because not every woman is going to get the full.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I mean? The full whatever.
Well, y'all know me long enough to know Rebecca, my first children's mother, Rashad Melandra. She didn't. We argued all the time, so she didn't get that, as opposed to what my youngest mother child got.
Right.
You know, I agree with that. You know, but you know what? And not everybody deserves it.
That's the other part. You just can't meet everybody and start giving your heart. You just be vulnerable every time you meet somebody.
Right. I mean, because you know, and like I said, I mean, I think that's the last. You know, if you're gonna get it, that's the last piece of the dude. That's the last piece of the dude.
And I believe that's when a dude is purchasing hardware. Like that's when a dude will hit that knee or see that deer walking past. And then, you know, jump to his knee.
They're sitting on the bench swinging their legs.
That's right.
That's when sitting on the bench swinging their legs.
Putting your toes in the sand
but
together.
that's when you know, you know what I mean? That's when you know you got the whole person.
But see,
you know what I'm saying?
Let's flip it to women. How do y'all feel about when they get vulnerable from the rip and you like, whoa.
but you know what? I think
they'll give you that part of them real early, a lot of them. You looking like, wait a minute.
Yeah, let me get to know you first or some shit. Yeah.
But this is what I say with that, though. I think the difference is a man protects his vulnerability and a woman, I don't mean the chick that's running the street, she protects her body. So she'll give you all of her mental, she'll give you the emotional, she'll give you the vulnerabilities, and then you earn the body. You earn the physical later. Whereas a man will give you the physical on the first night.
That's that. I don't know if that's the way that shit work anymore. I'm just saying. I don't think that's the way that shit works.
That's no longer taboo.
Yeah,
right.
I'm saying.
Listen. Sex on the first date. I don't think there's anything wrong with that between two adults. I mean,
it's not.
That's like a topic for your next joint.
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but.
We gotta think about that.
You know what I mean, if she banging you today, she might be banging on the first date. She might got a date tomorrow.
Well,
see, that's real sexist, brother. So you don't think sometimes she gets attracted to you, and not, or like if y'all having that one night stand type of thing, you just thought it could have been anybody that night.
Right.
Like,
True.
You
maybe the way you put it down. Right.
No, I ain't saying.
And you know what though. And I agree with Shice. I think that it could be as a result of the way that you put it down. I mean, if the night was strong and you had out your very best and you had Babyface playing in the background, I mean, you know, you might earn it on the first night, you know. I think that it varies, you know. I don't think that it automatically means that
I would like to believe when I was blessed on those nights that it was about me. So I'm going to keep my people
all right, okay.
Like it could have been anything.
So
it had nothing to do with her being a whore.
Damn.
No, I know.
I'm just playing.
I think we all mature enough to know the distinction.
Yeah. I'm just playing. And
this.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think. Well, first of all, where's guys? Guys still on?
I'm here. I think
okay. All right. I told you.
So I was going to take a quick survey out of the three of y'all and find out how many of y'all are single. Okay, nobody's single except for me. So a lot of what y'all saying in my mind is antiquated. This shit is old. Like that's not the way it's going down no more.
That's what I said. I don't think it worked like that no more.
Yeah, it's not going down like that no more, bro.
So what you mean, guy? It's just like whatever.
No, I think it's even beyond whatever. I think like y'all talking like, all right, we go on the first date, we might smash or maybe not, right? Which whatever. That's whoever. That's up to the grown folks' business that sends into that business. But what I'm saying is, it goes further than that now. Where before you even meet a person these days, you will already have an understanding of what the intent is for that particular moment or day or night. So it's not like, it ain't like back, all right, let's give it to 30 days if it ain't popping off in 30. No,
Right.
I think nowadays when it comes to dating, and not necessarily me, because I'm a good guy. I'm a wholesome, moral, ethical guy. You know what I'm saying?
Turn it down.
I'm just telling y'all what I hear about in these circles that I travel being single.
See,
right?
let me disclaimer. I've been divorced since 2012. So I ain't been out the game. So it ain't like I don't know these things is going down. When I first got to my own crib, it was
don't get yourself in trouble.
I had to slow myself down.
In no trouble.
But you told me I was the only one.
But Shice, you got an old lady? You got a main squeeze, Shice?
Now I do at this time.
But how long you been with your main squeeze? Just to get a feel of context of where you at in the dating scene.
So you get
I wrote it down.
Don't even answer that because your date might be different than her date.
Answer that.
I see it like this though. I see it like this. I think it's levels to this. Me being where I'm at and we don't live together. I think it's levels to this. I think it's a difference in when I was married to somebody and you got your own crib and I got my own crib and it is what it is. So like I said, since 2012, I've been single. So I've been all levels to this. This what's going on out here.
All right, big bro, Shice, man. We appreciate you coming through, man.
Glad you came on, man. Good to see you, babe.
We ain't seen you in a while, man.
Next week, Shice, listen, next week, sex on the first date. You got to join us.
All right, big bro. I'll see you later,
man. That's like a movie, man.
All right. There you go.
All right. So we gotta it's 10 after. So if we're gonna put this last one on the joint, we had to run through it pretty quick. Unless you want to table it next week.
I would say table it. What y'all think?
I say
so.
Table.
What was it?
We had a nice run today. We had a nice run today. Let's
Sounds
not take
good.
a chance.
So it was houses.
That random took up a little bit more time than we thought, but
That's cool. That's cool.
Hey,
and as we said,
like I told you, man, States, like I told you, we might get to your random, we might not. We're gonna see how that works out. Today it just didn't work. It didn't work today. Next week, States. Next week.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, I'm good with that. So next week we gotta put this on it. How does social media affect our young black men? We also had to hit up sex on the first night. Sex on the first date.
We had to remember that. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget.
Get back to that for next week. All right. So
wait,
in closing,
is that supposed to be a bad thing or something?
What? Sex on the first date?
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it next week. We'll talk about it next week. All right. So, yo, man. All right. In closing, I just want to say thank you to everybody that joined in, that tuned in. Feel free. We hope next time you'll go to step further and click on the link and join us in this conversation. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can catch us on all of the platforms, basically. So, what you got? Guy?
I'm gonna stand on what I always stand on, brother. I am a revolutionary. I am the people. Power to the people, fam.
Right.
Absolutely. And speaking of power to the people, I just want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank everybody who didn't catch us live, but will be listening, to our recorded podcast, which can be found on all platforms right now. I mean, YouTube, our site, RealBrosLive.com. Also, we're on Amazon, iTunes, all of them, anywhere you get your podcast.
Check us out. I listen to it on Amazon.
Another thing, I just want to say, we're all about uniting our people. So, we don't care, where you live. We don't care what you do. We don't care your financial status. We don't care about none of that. All we care about is that, you know, we're spreading love and peace and prosperity for our people. So
Absolutely.
if you down with that, get down with us, because that's what we do. That's what we all about.
Nice. All right. So we see y'all next week. Peace.
All right. Everybody have a good one. Till next week.
Go Eagles.